Hello friends, welcome to the video lecture series on analog communication. My name is Raj Narayan Srivas, and in this video we are going to review some of the concepts that we have already discussed in the previous lectures. We will see some of the numericals based on those concepts, and then finally we will introduce the concept of noise bandwidth. Let us begin. So at first we saw the definition of thermal noise. Thermal noise is generated when the material is going to be a conducting medium. So a non-conducting medium cannot generate a thermal noise. This thermal noise is generated due to the random motion of charged particles, usually electrons. There is a heat exchange between the surrounding and the conductor when the temperature is greater than 0 Kelvin, due to which electron gets heated and this heat energy gets converted into kinetic energy. This process is known as thermal agitation. So the thermal noise voltage, it is denoted by symbol small v n of t. This is nothing but an instantaneous random tiny voltage generated across the ends of the conductor due to thermal agitation. Hence the name is thermal noise voltage. The other names to this noise voltage is Nyquist-Johnson noise, or you also call it register noise. Then we saw some of the experimental facts about this noise. That is, this noise has Gaussian density function with zero mean value, or DC value is 0, and the mean square value or the variance is given by this formula, that is 4 kT/Br. If you see this formula, this mean square value of the voltage, it is proportional to the temperature, to the bandwidth and the resistance value. If you take the square root of this, you get a root mean square value of this noise voltage, that is nothing but square root of 4 kT/Br. Then we saw that the generated thermal noise power from this noisy resistance, denoted by P sub G, generated thermal noise power, and this is RMS voltage square upon R. So RMS voltage square is nothing but mean square value of that voltage, that is 4 kT/Br upon this R. So R and R got cancelled, so we get 4 kT/By. Hence this thermal noise is an example of Gaussian noise because it has Gaussian distribution. Then we saw the PSD of this noise. What we saw was this PSD is completely flat over the wide range of frequency. It means it is constant throughout the frequency of observation, which is a constant value, that is 4 kT. So this PSD is a single-sided PSD when we consider only positive frequency. When you consider both of the frequencies, that is from -infinity to +infinity hertz, then this PSD becomes half, that is 2 kT per hertz, and these are the two equivalent representations. So I hope this was clear in the previous lecture, that is the single-sided PSD and what is double-sided PSD. Here we are considering only positive frequency, and here we are considering positive as well as negative frequency. So this PSD is constant, hence this is an example of white noise, because white light also comprises of the colors with equal proportion. Therefore thermal noise is an example of white Gaussian noise because it has Gaussian density function and its PSD, that is power spectral density, is flat. And what we saw earlier, that area under PSD curve gives us the power over that frequency range, and area under PDF gives us the probability over that voltage range. Then we discussed how to solve for RMS value of thermal noise voltage at the output of any circuit, and that circuit contains more than one resistance. We discussed two methods, method 1 and method 2. Method 1 was, the very first step in method 1 is replace all the noisy resistors with their equivalent Thevenin or equivalent Norton. So if there are AM resistors which are noisy resistors, so we have AM voltage sources, one noise voltage to each of this AM resistor. Then the second step was, for each of these AM voltages, calculate output noise voltage, that is VOI, while considering the other noise voltage as 0. Then the third step is to calculate overall noise voltage, that is VO, by using the relation that is VO square is equal to VO1 square plus VO2 square up to VOM square. But please note, this is the superposition of mean square value, not the superposition of sum of individual voltage. So this method is a little involved, but it has no constraint on it. When we see the second method, this method was a little bit easier as compared to this method, but it has some constraint, and that constraint we discussed last time was that if you have a circuit having resistances and these all resistances are not kept at the same temperature, then you cannot go with this method. You have to use method 1. So method 2, provided all the resistances are kept at the same temperature, step number 1 is to calculate equivalent resistance by looking at the output terminal into the circuit. Once you get the R equivalent, then we can find the overall noise voltage by using the relation that is square root of 4 kT B R equivalent. And then we saw two special case of, that is, one is series connection and one is parallel connection, and we derived the expression for overall thermal noise RMS voltage for series and parallel combination. And then at last we saw that the available maximum thermal noise power from any noisy resistor. So this is a noisy resistor with resistance R. So the Thevenin equivalent of this noisy resistor is nothing but resistance R in series with this voltage, that is square root of 4 kT BR. And when it is open circuit, then we know that when the power generated is nothing but 4 kT B. But what happens when we connect a load or any system to this noisy resistor? How much power will be delivered from this noisy resistor to this load? So let's assume that there is a load RL, and we know from the maximum power transfer theorem, the maximum power delivered to this load will occur when this load resistance is exactly equal to this resistance, this resistance value. And in that case, the voltage is going to be divided in these two resistance equally. That is, half voltage will be here and half voltage will be here. So when you see that power, this is going to be 1/4 times of the generated power. So we discussed this one, that available noise power, which is nothing but maximum available noise power, this is 1/4 of the generated power. Like we have seen the generated noise power spectral density, that is 4 kT single-sided and 2 kT double-sided. Similarly, we can define available noise power spectral density as kT while considering only positive frequency, and when we consider both of the frequency, that is positive as well as negative frequency, in that case the available noise power spectral density has to be kT half. So this is again the same idea that we are using to define this PSD, that area under PSD will give you the power. So generated noise PSD, it was 4 kT single sided, and when you see available noise PSD, it has to be kT. So you just remove this B, you get PSD. You just remove this B, you get PSD here. And these are the single sided. When you consider double sided, it is going to be 2 kT and it's going to be kT half.